The fact that it's played in 322 out of 760 districts, that 40% of India's districts plays rugby and nobody knows because we're not on mass media.
Right now, the Rugby Premier League has shaped up, and we all are extremely excited for the league that is starting from 1st of June in Mumbai. So, Rahul, in brief, if you can share with our audience, top three reasons why every Indian sports lover should look up to RPL.
When you're watching something on television, especially in sport, it has to grab you in the first 30 seconds. Otherwise, you're not going to stay with it. Human attention spans have become so short that unless a sport is gripping, thrilling, eventful in 30 seconds, you're going to move on to the next thing. Rugby Sevens is the most gripping, eventful sport, outdoor sport on television that exists. It's as simple as that. There is a score in rugby, in Sevens rugby, every 1.5 to 2 minutes, which means that in a 16-minute game, like ours is going to be, there'll be 8 to 10 scores. So every 2 minutes, there is a, as the broadcaster calls it, a dopamine hit. And in between those scores, in between, in those 119 seconds in between, there is non-stop action, again, as the broadcaster says, filled with events. Rugby Sevens is very easy to follow. Basically, it is people smashing into each other, getting the ball and running at the speed of light, passing the ball and getting to the line and putting the ball down. So, in those 119 seconds between two scores, we call them tries in rugby. Between the two tries, there will be at least maybe 30 to 40 hits. That is, smash body on body at high velocity. And there will be at least 30 to 40 passes at full speed while people are running at full speed. So there really is no time to get bored. And some really, really, exciting sports, and I can't name them because I'll be accused of trying to put down other sports that are physically very intense, specifically some individual racket sports that are very intense, but they just don't translate into great television. So once you have the format, a winner, only then should you start to plan a league. A league does not work, in my opinion, as effectively with individual sports, for example. Because essentially what makes leagues work is as loyalty of the fans. Number one, it's incredibly fast. Number two, it's incredibly physical. Number three, there is something happening every moment of time in terms of points scored. And I think that when people are in the presence of real quality, they smell it.
RPL is going to be world's first franchisee-based league, right? And also the fact that the global rugby body has given the 15-day time period where no other rugby action will be happening during that time.
We went and saw a lot of the leagues that have taken place in India. Some have succeeded. We looked at the IPL, and if I'm not mistaken, and you can check this, 17 years ago when the IPL started, or 18 years ago, they had a window of 45 days given to them by the ICC where no T20 cricket would be played anywhere else in the world at the time. So the best players would be free to play. Of course, they asked many questions, but when we spoke to World Rugby about giving us a window, they considered it, and it took them a couple of years to finally give us this window where no top flight sevens rugby is being played anywhere in the world at this time. So all the players are free to come. How much are they being paid? And World Rugby had recommended an amount which they believed was a very competitive top dollar amount. And finally, because elite sports persons all over the world are in a good way snobs, they said, who are the coaches? And when we named the 6 coaches, that's when they realized that we are not messing around. That's when they realized that this is top class. So Rugby India approached GMR first to pitch to them a Delhi team. GMR Sports would now like to get into the entire business of operating and running a league. So we said, okay, we are the IP owners, but we can figure out a partnership. Personally, the way I like to work, especially on projects that require multilateral cooperation, is to take everybody together. I have to give credit to GMR Sports, and this is not because you asked, but they've been wonderful partners. This is a television product. This is very exciting live. And we know that the stadium in Andheri Sports Complex is going to be full for those 15 days. We don't need 50,000 people, we need 5,000 people. We know that. And it will be very popular live. But ultimately, this has to live and die on television and online.
Rahul, an interesting thing that I read is that rugby fantasy will be there on Dream 11, and it excited me a lot because Dream Group is also owning the Mumbai team, right? So it's going to be very interesting because again, after IPL, I don't think any other sport has been able to make a dent into that fantasy space. So let's see. I am really, as I said, I'm excited about it.
Look, it's full of events. The game is full of events, which is what fantasy gaming is all about. There has to be an event all the time. It was just about fantasy gaming, and they were like, let's look at the format, let's try and make it more interesting, let's get our team involved. Initially, they said, let's give this some time. We need more time to work on this. We need to get our team involved. So then, as recently as maybe 4 months ago, we were sitting in a room with all the fantasy people. And that was it. We didn't say the next edition. We said as soon as possible. It could be the next edition.
Okay.
We already have three team owners who have said we would love to have a women's RPM. Our rugby general body would love it. I would love it. Very early on, we thought, should we have it only for women?
Mm-hmm.
It was, yes, it was as strong as that. Every team owner, when we have approached them, has not heard the story about the Rugby Premier League. They've not heard the story about the best players in the world. They've heard the story of Indian rugby. What is Indian rugby today, and how will the league help Indian rugby? The fact that it's played in 322 out of 760 districts, that 40% of India's districts plays rugby, and nobody knows because we're not on mass media. Our women are ranked 10th in Asia out of 36 countries. Our men are ranked 15th. If you make the top two, you make the Olympics. There's only been one team that's made the Olympics from India in the last 65, 70 years. So as a sport, what is stopping you from getting there? Very simply, funding. Our under-18 girls at the Asian Championships beat the best teams on the first day, Hong Kong included, UAE. So we thought the next day they have to play two weaker teams, they'll win the tournament. We'll get our first goal ever. Next day they lost all their games. Not because they didn't have the skill, or the structure, or the knowledge, or the coaching, or the passion. They were just physically tired. They had enough nutrition for one day of rugby. How are you going to build an Olympic team like that? You need to make sure that strength, conditioning, and nutrition doesn't happen just in a camp for 1.5 months, but happens all year long.
So was this the reason that went behind the composition of the team, where there will be 5 international marquee players and 5 Indian players and 3 international bridge players? I'm sure a good amount of thought has went behind this number.
Look, there will be perhaps a perceivable gulf between the best players in the world playing with the best of India. So you need to visually bridge it. You need to make sure that there's continuity in the game. So you have players who form that bridge from Canada, Hong Kong, China, and Germany. On the field at every given time, and this is a serious league. There'll be 2 bridge players, there'll be 2 marquee players, and there'll be 2 Indian players at every time. So there's a continuity. We want to make sure that the viewer has the best time that they can have. Do I think it's going to be a success? 100%. 100%. If it was even 95%, I would not dare to do it. And it comes from the fact that the sport itself is so attractive and magnetic to watch. We're just creating the best conditions. We will get better. We only believe in perfection. We don't believe in excellence. But perfection is something you can't get to for everything overnight all the time. It takes time, and sometimes you can't be perfect in love. You can't be perfect in raising your children. You can't be perfect in becoming a more moral and ethical person. These are always things you can improve at. But there are things you can be perfect at. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be in the conduct of a tournament.
Rahul, talking about the film industry, again, you have had a very long association there as well. And how much of association from the film industry will be there in the league?
Fully. Fully. But why will it be? Why will it? It'll never overshadow the league. There's no chance of that happening. After everything I've told you. But it'll be fully there. I have friends I've built over the last 32 years who will not say no. They'll all come.
Yeah.